Joining me today, Mandy Churchill, one of our most experienced domestic private jet tour managers. 7 days seeing the southern islands of Australia. Mandy, a ripper itinerary, leaving from Sydney, going down to Hobart, but a very special stop on the way.
Well, a stop in Flinders Island in the Bass Strait. Fancy that, flying by business class down to Hobart, just dropping into Flinders Island for lunch. Actually, that's where some of our best lamb comes from in Australia, you know, from Flinders Island. But it's the coastline there is quite spectacular, but certainly a lot of shipwrecks around that part of the coastline, both there and King Island in the early days before, of course, we had our lighthouses to protect our coasts.
Some treacherous water, I agree, but whilst it does produce great lamb, I think crayfish is always high on the menu list for lunch at Flinders Island. But nevertheless, we go down to Hobart, 3 nights there. We've given our guests a number of great discoveries.
Well, starting perhaps with the Mach 1 Hotel, I stayed there last year with Captain's Choice, and it's very unique in that each of the rooms has a character of history of Hobart written up on the door of the rooms, whether that be famous for good reasons or for bad. But so the Mach 1's a beautiful central spot to stay. But of course, including Bruny Island on the program, as well as, of course, Mona. Many people will be familiar with the Museum of Modern and New Art at Mona. Getting there via the Posh Pit Ferry is a fabulous way to see it. But great spot to stop for a few nights and actually be able to stop and unpack your gear for the 3 nights that we're staying there before travelling on to King Island.
That's right. And of course, I think our product managers have done a great job of organising that we are in Hobart for Saturday as well, so you can take in the wonderful markets at Salamanca. But King Island, now there's a stop if you love your produce.
Well, you talked about the crayfish on Flinders Island, which is quite spectacular, and as it is on King Island as well. The beef, of course, is well known, the King Island beef, and the crayfish and the dairy produce. Exactly. What could be better? What could be better stop for lunch? Again, treacherous coastlines there, but a spectacular spot to stop scenery-wise.
Absolutely. And of course, 1 night there, so we've got plenty of time to discover everything before heading off for 2 nights at Kangaroo Island. Now, I should say that we've been going to Kangaroo Island for many, many years, staying at the beautiful Southern Ocean Lodge, and we were as devastated as everyone to see what the bushfires did to it. But again, we want to support the local communities there. Still staying 2 nights at the Mercure, but we will discover the wonders of the island. And
I think no better time than now to bring people to Kangaroo Island to help support their communities. But the iconic spots like Admiral's Arch and the Remarkable Rocks and Seal Bay, where we visit some of the locals on the beach, being the seals, of course, they're still there and just crying for us to come back. So I'm so pleased that we've put Kangaroo Island on the program because it's a great spot to visit.
It is. And then, of course, the private jet comes into its own. Worth mentioning again, and you mentioned it, Mandy, it is all business class, this aircraft, flying via Mildura back to Sydney. And lovely place to stop for a lunchtime period.
Well, how does it sound stepping onto a paddle steamer and steaming upriver to the Trentham Winery for lunch? I think that's a pretty special way to finish our 7 days travelling around some of the southern parts of Australia.
Very true, very true. And if you do like a drop or 2 from Trentham, we've got plenty of room on the aircraft to bring a box or 2 back with you if you wish to.
Fabulous.
A fabulous itinerary. It's called Southern Islands, 7 days, a great way to explore our truly unique Southern Islands. Mandy, I thank you for your time.
Thanks, Bas.